It took years of meticulous archival research for the two American historians to finally pierce the veil and identify the mysterious informant, Eduard Schulte, a high-ranking German industrialist who had risked everything to expose the Nazis' genocidal plans. It is indeed an extraordinary story, one that begins in the German region of Silesia, in the city of Breslau, now Wrocław, Poland. There, in the heart of the Third Reich's industrial elite, lived the man who would dare to betray Hitler from within, Eduard Schulte. Schulte was a fixture of the upper class, married, father to two sons, a man who spent his weekends hunting in the forests and his evenings mingling with the region's most powerful and influential figures. His fortune stemmed from vast industrial holdings. As the director of one of Germany's largest mining conglomerates, he commanded a workforce of more than 30,000. His company extracted zinc, an essential raw material for manufacturing munitions, making it a cornerstone of the wartime economy. This strategic role brought him into frequent, unavoidable contact with the upper echelons of the Nazi regime. Schulte undoubtedly belonged to that rare circle of indispensable industrialists. He may not have rubbed shoulders with the regime's leaders daily, but he attended critical high-level meetings and maintained close ties with key officials. Outwardly, Eduard Schulte played the part flawlessly, but beneath the facade lay a burning truth. He despised the Nazi regime. He loathed Adolf Hitler with every fiber of his being. His deepest wish was singular and unwavering: the complete collapse of the Third Reich. He viewed the Nazis as little more than gangsters, thugs who would drag Germany to ruin. Schulte quietly maintained ties with Jewish friends, meeting them in utmost secrecy. One relationship, however, carried even greater risk in the poisonous climate of the Reich. While his wife remained in Germany, her name was Doris, and she was Jewish. This was a passion he guarded with his life, hidden in absolute secrecy. Had the Nazis discovered it, both he and Doris would have faced mortal peril. Yet it was not only personal affection that drove him. Fueled by deep political conviction, Schulte resolved to act against the regime he despised. Eduard Schulte became one of the most vital undercover informants the Allies ever had inside the Third Reich. Whenever the opportunity arose, he funneled strategic intelligence directly to London and Washington, often at unimaginable personal risk. It was through these clandestine channels that he succeeded in revealing the Nazis' most diabolical plan to the Americans. Here is how he did it. Within his own company, Schulte employed a man named Otto Fitzner, a committed Nazi with excellent connections in the upper echelons of the regime. Fitzner, completely unaware of his boss's true feelings, spoke freely in Schulte's presence. No one, not even Fitzner, suspected for a moment that the urbane, apparently loyal industrialist Eduard Schulte detested the Nazis with every fiber of his being. In fact, Schulte deliberately encouraged Fitzner's deeper involvement. Why not accept that position on the Nazi War Economy Advisory Board? He suggested casually. It would be tremendously advantageous for the company. Eager to impress his powerful boss, Fitzner began bragging about the exclusive intelligence now within his reach. Then, in July 1942, during one such conversation, Fitzner casually mentioned overhearing details of a highly classified decision issued straight from Hitler's headquarters. Schulte, sensing the gravity, expertly steered the discussion to draw out more, perhaps with a skeptical prod. "Oh, come now, you can't possibly know what's truly being decided inside the Führer's inner circle." Fitzner, rising to the bait, spilled the horrifying truth. Fitzner, eager to assert his insider status, shot back something along the lines of, "Oh yes, I do. Want proof? Here's what they're discussing right now at the Führer's headquarters. A plan to kill 3.5 to 4 million Jews. A full-scale scheme for the extermination of up to 4 million Jews." The revelation was almost too monstrous to comprehend. Yet Eduard Schulte grasped immediately that this was a decision without precedent in history, an organized, state-sponsored annihilation on a scale the world had never witnessed. One can only imagine the crushing weight that settled on him in that moment. The knowledge that 3.5 to 4 million innocent men, women, and children were marked for systematic murder. and that he, perhaps alone among those who knew, had the connections to sound the alarm. Overwhelmed by the sheer enormity of what he had just learned, Schulte faced an agonizing question. What can I do? What should I do? What is even safe for me to do? In the end, he chose the only path his conscience would allow. He resolved to warn the Allies and try to prevent the slaughter of millions of innocents. The moment the details spilled from Fitzner's lips, Schulte knew he could not remain silent. He boarded a train bound for Zurich, carrying the devastating intelligence with him. He possessed chillingly precise information, dates, locations, methods. He had learned that the Nazis intended to weaponize prussic acid, transforming it into a lethal gas designed to kill on an industrial scale. On July 29, 1942, under the cover of one of his routine business trips, Schulte crossed into Switzerland. He seized the pretext of his routine business travels across Europe to slip quietly into neutral Switzerland. Determined not to arouse the slightest suspicion, Schulte behaved exactly as he always did, no deviation from his established patterns. In Zurich, he spent the evening with his mistress, Doris, sharing wine and conversation as usual, yet never breathing a word about the true urgent purpose of his trip. The next day, however, he quietly excused himself for what he described as a routine business meeting. In truth, it was a clandestine rendezvous with a trusted Jewish contact, a man who possessed the vital connections needed to carry the explosive intelligence straight to the Allies. An influential Polish-Jewish banker in Zurich, a man Schulte trusted implicitly and who maintained direct transatlantic links to the World Jewish Congress in New York. Before revealing the devastating intelligence, Schulte imposed one unbreakable condition. "Look," he told the banker gravely, "I'm about to share something unthinkable, but I need your solemn word of honor. My name must never appear. Not now, not ever." The banker swore an oath of silence. Only then did Schulte disclose the full horror. A final, irrevocable decision had been taken at the highest level to exterminate every Jew in Europe. The operation was already underway. Gas was being deployed on an industrial scale, and the systematic killing had begun in earnest. It was through this perilous chain of trust that the now famous telegram reached New York, landing on the desk of Rabbi Stephen Wise, the American representative of the World Jewish Congress. On November 24, 1942, Rabbi Wise summoned the nation's leading journalists to a packed press conference. Standing before them, he delivered a bombshell. Credible intelligence confirmed that the Nazis were deporting vast numbers of Jews to Poland, not for labor or resettlement, but for systematic mass extermination. For the first time, the full horror of the final solution was laid bare in public. Yet the revelation faced a daunting obstacle. However, the revelation failed to ignite the media storm that Eduard Schulte had desperately hoped for. The following day, the front page of the New York Times was dominated by the latest dramatic developments on the Eastern Front and the Battle of Stalingrad. To find any trace of Schulte's earth-shattering intelligence, readers had to flip all the way to page 10. There, buried between two unrelated photographs, it appeared as a modest wire dispatch, just 5 brief matter-of-fact paragraphs reporting that a systematic extermination campaign against Jews was underway across Nazi-occupied Europe. The revelation was so staggering, so utterly beyond the bounds of imaginable evil, that many simply refused to believe it. "It's too fantastic," skeptics insisted. "Surely this is exaggeration, propaganda cooked up by Jewish organizations for their own ends." The human mind recoiled from the idea that one group of people could inflict such calculated horror on another. Yet the truth, however inconceivable, was now in the open. The Allied governments could no longer look away or dismiss it as rumor, all the more so because the evidence continued to mount. Fresh intelligence poured in from multiple sources, corroborating every detail of Schulte's warning in chilling alignment. One such corroborating report came from Jan Karski, a courageous courier for the Polish underground resistance. In November 1942, Karski personally confirmed the ongoing Jewish massacre in Poland, delivering his eyewitness account to Western leaders and lending undeniable weight to Schulte's earlier warning. Just days later, on December 17, 1942, the Allies finally issued a unified response. Representatives of the United Kingdom, the United States, the Soviet Union, and Free France, including Churchill, Roosevelt, Stalin, and General de Gaulle, agreed on a joint declaration that confronted the grim reality head-on.